Hey everyone, this is Mike.
And this is Josh.
And this is Must See Before You Die. And tonight we're doing one of my favorite movies, Halloween, the original 1978. Not the Rob Zombie one. We're going back to the original 1978, 44 years ago. It's right before the new Halloween ends comes out. But we're going to go back and go old school on this with you with a classic. The number one ranked movie franchise out there. Jason, Friday 13th, right behind it. But let's kind of give you a little bit of backdrop on the storyline. And Josh, if I missed something here, please jump on in and correct me. But this takes place. It starts out in 1963, comes out with a point of view look, and then you got Michael Myers when he was a kid,
6
years old.
Yes,
he takes out his first victim. I'm not going to tell you who it is now. Go watch the movie, but I know who it is. But yeah, and then he goes away for 15 years. He's in a psychiatric place, and I think it's called Smith Grove, if I recall. I may be wrong on that, but and then all of a sudden,
one of the things that gets me is when Dr. Loomis says, "I looked into those eyes and they were dark, black eyes. There was nothing there, nothing there."
Yeah, it's so, man, I get cold chills thinking about it. And then he comes on October the 30th, the day before Halloween, 15 years later. They're going to take him off somewhere, and he breaks out along with a bunch of other ones. He steals the station wagon, and he heads back to Haddonfield, Illinois, which we really know is where.
It's actually California.
That's right.
Yeah. I wanted to interject something there, Mike. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, like you just said, he stole a car. A lot of people are like, how did he know how to drive? Because the guy's been locked up since he's been 6 years old. And most likely that was probably a stick shift vehicle. Probably. I don't know that, but a lot of them were back then. How did the guy know how to do that?
Well, you remember that argument? There's an argument in the movie and between Loomis and the people at the Grove place, the psychiatrist, and he says, well, he must have learned how to drive here. And he kind of jumps in the car and pulls off, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
So then he goes on this movie actually originally was going to be called the Babysitter Murderers.
Right.
And then it was changed to Halloween right before, a couple of days into production. But yeah, so then you have Michael Myers coming back to Haddonfield, Illinois. He checks out his old home place. Then he goes on the part where he starts trying to basically terrorize Laurie Strode, who's a young girl. She's kind of, in my opinion, she's a scream queen now. She's a modern day scream queen from the late 70s. And
well, he's stalking her and her friends, really.
Yeah,
and he's stalking all of them, and he's especially her, and he's also kind of stalking Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy Doyle.
Yeah. He showed up at his school, and you know what I mean? So, he's doing kind of like the whole gambit of characters there. And like you said, you had Loomis was after him, looking all over for him, couldn't, find where he was, but he knew that he was going back to his hometown. That's what he knew. And he got the law enforcement involved. The sheriff thought he was a little nuts. But he was going along with it. But yeah.
So then he goes into where he starts slowly start picking them off one at a time.
Yeah.
And then by the very end of it, it's him really chasing Laurie at the very end of this, which is Jamie Lee Curtis. We all know that. Is actually her first movie. And it's just to build up. And probably the last 20 to 30 minutes, 25 minutes, is just wide open. And the classic stuff about this movie with the music and John Carpenter is, his second or third movie he had put out, but the build up, the music, the mask, and we'll get into a little bit of facts here in a second, but then the ending is a big twist as well. There's something at the very end that's a big twist.
The score of the movie is incredible. The music, that's why John Carpenter wanted to do that, wanted to do the music himself. He did, and it's great. It really tenses up scenes, and scenes that aren't even tense. It can kind of make it feel that way when you see Michael like behind a bush or whatever. The music, like, it just matches perfect. It's great. John Carpenter did an awesome job with it. Director and did the score. I mean, the guy was doing a lot of stuff during this movie. And there's even rumors that he put the mask and the suit on himself in a couple of scenes in the movie. Not anything concrete, but there's rumors of that.
Yeah, I'd love to hear him say if he did or not for real, and then which scenes they were. Because we, a lot of people that know the diehards about this movie know, Nick Castle got the job at The Shape, but he was kind of friends with John Carpenter and came over and was just hanging out. And John Carpenter kind of talked him in for $25 a day to be The Shape.
Yep.
So that was really cool. But yeah, I mean, it's considered a classic. Most people that probably watch this on YouTube as a replay have already seen the movie, probably.
Right.
But it's also an opportunity for newer generation, since it's so old. It's 44 years old. So you can see a lot of things in this movie that tie in to things nowadays, or even in the late 80s or mid 80s, all the way through now.
Right.
And you go back to it, it's the first time it was done in this movie. I mean,
right. Well, it's not it's not the first slasher.
No.
But it definitely is the slasher that brought slasher movies into the mainstream, to open the door up for Jason, for Freddy, for Chuck. I mean, all the slasher movies that followed it, it opened the door up for that. It's not the first. I mean, you got, Black Christmas was like the first kind of like holiday slasher movie, because a lot of people think that this movie is the first holiday slasher movie, and it's not. Also, I mean, there were some before it. I don't really remember the names right now, but there was a couple before it that could be considered slashers. But yeah, definitely this was the one to bring it to the mainstream, no doubt.
So let's kind of talk a little bit next about, in the movie, Josh, what is, maybe a couple of your favorite scenes of the movie?
Totally.
That was way overused. Oh my gosh.
So this one character, oh man, what's her name? The blonde.
PJ Souls in real life. I'm drawing.
Is it Lindsay?
Lindsay. No, Lindsay's the little girl.
Oh, man, horrible.
We sound like blooming idiots here.
Yeah. And so I mean, this girl says the word totally. I don't even know how many times, but she does, and it's just funny. So
in the first minute and a half that she's on the screen, she says it 4 or 5 times, because I counted them.
She
said 4 or 5
it.
times.
But I really like the scene where, this is one of my favorite scenes when it sticks out, is when he is pursuing Jamie Lee Curtis in the house, Laurie Strode, and she is like, oh gosh, like she just saw like her friends are dead or whatever. And all of a sudden, like in the closet, she's standing there and you don't see anything, just pitch black. But all of a sudden you see this white face appear, like very slowly, not all at once. I mean, it's just like, and it's really effective. It's creepy. It's awesome. Another favorite scene of mine is I really like Donald Pleasence in this movie. Dr. Loomis, he is really good in this movie. And, he really is the standout actor as the movies went on and he appeared in them. When they got worse, he was definitely the shining star of the future movies. Really like his character, and I like what he does in the movie. He actually has, there's actually a favorite line between Laurie and him. And after he shoots Michael Myers, she says, "Was that the boogeyman?" And he says, "A matter of fact, it was."
That's
and
one
I
of my
really
favorite things too. I love it.
I love that. That needs to be on a shirt. That needs to be on a shirt. So,
as a matter of fact, is that the boogeyman? Yeah.
He said, "A matter of fact, it was." So yeah, I love it. And yeah, I mean, you were saying about the twist ending. Yeah, I like that. I like the end. I think the ending's solid. I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's solid. Yeah. There's something I want to kind of talk to you about. after you tell me your favorite scenes in the movie. Tell me a couple, and then I'm going to bring up a topic after that.
Well, I've got about 25 here. I'll just go over about 5. So one thing I loved about this movie early on, even as a kid, I mean, this is 1978. I was born in 71. I'm a little over 50. So I was 7 years old when this came out. And I remember back in the day, everybody left their front doors open. You didn't lock the front door half the time. And so something like this coming out where somebody could possibly be going around killing people just, kind of freaked me out as a small kid. But the opening scene with the point of view camera, if I'm not mistaken, half this budget was used on Panavision cameras, and it was for one of the not the first, but one of the first movies to come out using that, where they hooked up this rig on somebody and the camera was on the person, so it was that point of view look, and really that happens at the very beginning of it, and then it doesn't happen much after that, other than it being kind of behind him, looking behind trees and stuff at the house and so forth. But just love that scene at the very beginning when he, as a small kid goes up, gets the knife, goes through the whole house. And then I might as well go ahead and say it. He saw his sister up there and he took care of his sister.
Mike, if you're worried about saying spoilers to a 44-year-old
this is a 44-year-old movie. Spoiler alert for all the 20-year-olds.
If they're watching this review, they're spoilers. So you can say whatever. I mean, a 40. You had time to see it. 44 years old. It might be
a 5-year-old wanting to watch it now.
No.
Another classic scene for me is him stepping out from the hedge when he's standing by the hedge, and Laurie and him was walking down. They see the him standing at the hedge, and then he walks out behind it. Love that scene where he's standing at the clothesline, looking up at Laurie, and she looks out the window and looks down at him. Let's see. Another thing that I love is the thing playing on the TV in the background. I don't know if you noticed that or not. But when they're watching TV, the original thing is playing.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say this one because this was a kill scene. I'll save that for later. Heavy breathing throughout the movie. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah.
That back in the original, the heavy breathing, which has kind of built up the suspense of this monster or this guy behind the mask coming to kill, to kill all the babysitters. And that was pretty creepy back then.
I didn't realize how big a part of the movie the breathing was. I really didn't. I did not realize that. I'll admit it. I watched this movie the other night. I haven't watched it in a couple years, like all the way through, to be honest. It's not my favorite, and we'll get to that when we do the rating. But yeah, it was very effective. The breathing and all that was very effective, no doubt.
So I got two last ones, two left here on my list.
Okay, Mike, come on now. No, I'm just kidding.
When she's in the doorway sitting at the ground, she's already told the kids to go outside and run down the street to a neighbor's house. He sits straight up in the background when he's laying in the bedroom. He sits straight up and turns his head to the left, looking slowly at her.
Right.
I love that. I love that scene. It just, it gives me creeps every time I see it. And then you just mentioned it earlier, when Loomis looks down and sees his body, or they show his body laying, and then he comes back and Loomis looks down and he's gone. That is awesome. And I heard that Carpenter.
I have a problem with that. I actually have a problem with that. So we'll talk about that when you're done.
They actually had shot that, and they did it. They took 2 takes on that. And the first one, Loomis was surprised. And then the one that stayed in the video was he was not so surprised about it. When he didn't act like it was a big deal because he kind of already knew. I mean, he kind of figured it was going to happen. But those are some of the scenes in the movie that just, to me, are classics that make me want to continue to watch it over and over and over again.
Okay, I'm going to bring up my stuff. My couple gripes with the movie.
Okay.
First of all, you see the guy's face in one part of the movie. That didn't need to happen to me. I think that should have been a mystery. The guy just looked like any Joe Blow too. He didn't have I don't know. It just
according to Carpenter, because Nick Castle was going to do that originally. Nick Castle didn't. I mean, Carpenter didn't like Nick Castle's face. He wanted, I think it was it Moran that did that spot. but he wanted somebody with a young, angelic face, is what John Carpenter said.
Okay. Well, I don't like that part of the movie at all. Also, I mean, so Michael Myers got stabbed in the throat by a needle, a sewing needle. He got stabbed with a knife, right, by Laurie. He got hit a bunch with stuff. Then Dr. Loomis shot him 6 times. And the guy fell off a 2-story balcony, got up and walked away. Nah, I don't. I mean, if you're making your killer like a Jason Voorhees type, like zombie, sure. But this guy's supposed to be a mortal man. Like, I don't know. I just feel like, what is he? Is he some kind of supernatural entity, or is he just a normal man? I mean, I know he's like the shape, like, he the dark black eyes, like nothing was there. He didn't feel nothing. Maybe that's what they're going with. He didn't feel those bullets. But come on. I don't know. I just have a complaint with that.
Yeah. And then later ones, and the next one, part 2, which I know we're not talking about that now, but I think they tried to tell him that you missed or something like that. You really didn't hit him that many times.
Oh.
But in the first one, it looks like he hit him every time. That's what I'm thinking, because every time he shoots, he's taking another fall backwards and then finally falls off.
Right. Well, in the second, I mean, I know we're not talking about the second one, but he gets both of his eyes shot out and then he burns to death. So, and then he still comes back in the 4th movie. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, what is he? Is he a supernatural entity that can survive like anything? Or is he just some guy that's mentally insane and stuff? Like, if you're still mentally insane, 6 bullets probably will kill you. You know what I mean? So
maybe he had the good drugs from the 70s in him. I don't know.
I know. Maybe it might be a silly nitpick, but to me, it kind of took me out of the movie at the end. I mean, I thought it was a decent ending, not a great ending in my opinion.
Cool.
Well, do you have anything to say about that, Mike?
No, I'll get at the very end. I'll tear you up on that one.
Okay.
So now let's kind of look at your favorite kill. What is your favorite kill?
I think it's everyone's favorite kill, possibly. I mean, the boyfriend Bob, who gets lifted in the air and stabbed, and he got stabbed through the midsection of the stomach, and then he basically was hanging from the wall with the butcher knife, which is a really cool kill. I also like the kill where I actually like the kill where he strangled the girl with a phone cord as well. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
But I never noticed when he kills Annie. I never noticed. Like, I thought he strangled her in a car always. And this at the very end of the kill scene, he takes a knife and you see him slash her throat.
Yeah.
Like,
I kind of missed that for several episodes until I figured it out.
Right. So, but to go back to your question, it's the kill on Bob. It is.
Yeah, that's classic, and even in the new trailer for the newest movie out, they kind of do a tribute to that as in the trailer where they kill somebody very similar, and he turns his head to the left.
Right.
And I saw in an interview with Nick Castle, they said, "Hey, did you throw that in at the very end?" Because the rumor was he did. And he said, "No, absolutely not. John Carpenter told me to do that." So he gave the credit back to where it was due. That actually is my favorite kill scene in the movie as well. I love that one. It just, when his feet kind of go flat and he just, is it realistic? No. I mean, of course, chances, sticking a knife like that through somebody, it's not that long of a knife. And to stick into the wood and hold the guy up, no, but it's just so cool. One of the other movies later on, we'll talk about it, but where he killed the nurse, similar to that, where he held her up high and stuff. That is another one of my favorite kills in all the Halloween movies. But yeah, that's some good stuff. Any other kill scenes that you really?
No, that's it. I mean, he committed a horror movie no twice. He killed 2 dogs.
That was in our facts, and we'll show that. So we might as well go ahead and say that, and we'll skip over that when we show them here. He killed 5 people and 2 dogs.
Right. and it's a horror movie no is he killed it, because people hate it when he killed dogs. Kill as many people as you want. Just leave the dogs alone. What'd they ever do?
Yeah, they ain't done nothing. It's kind of like the snake in Friday the 13th. Why'd they kill the snake? He ain't done anything.
I do want to talk about something else. I guess I'm a newer generation horror fan, so it like stuck out to me because I'm a huge fan of the movie Scream. And there's a character in there that goes over the rules how to survive a scary movie. And Bob commits egregious. That's why he died the way he did. Because Bob drank booze. Bob had sex. Also, Bob did the worst thing you can do. He said, "I'll be right back." Because you never come back. When you say "I'll be right back," you never come back. So Bob committed three of the rules. He committed against them. So
What's the one about starting a car?
Huh?
They didn't in this one. They didn't try to start a car and it didn't work. But she tried to get in the car and it was locked. And she went back, got keys, and came back and it was unlocked the second time.
Right.
Usually it's like you try to crank the car up and it won't crank up.
Right. So, but yeah, I just thought it was funny. I just thought of that scene in Scream when the character is escaping me now. But he said, "These are the rules you must follow, to survive a horror movie." And Bob committed 3 out of like the 5 that you're not supposed to do. So like he was done. Like right when he said all that, I'm like, oh, this guy don't stand a chance. So, but yeah, anything, you want to go on to the facts, Mike?
Yeah, let's go through the facts. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on them, but I thought there were some really cool facts I saw and wanted to bring them up. So, starting out, it said it took less than 2 weeks to write the whole script for Halloween. And Deborah Hill and John Carpenter. Also, they were dating at the time. I didn't realize that. I saw some documentaries, but yeah, they wrote it in 10 days. Of course, this was Jamie Lee Curtis's kind of feature debut.
Yep, this is big movie for her.
Yep, and then the whole production totally was really short. It was only a 20-day shoot. That's incredible in my opinion. And also it was done in the spring of the year, and they had to bring the leaves and stuff in and paint the leaves and stuff to make them look like it was fall. They also had to bring in some extra fans and stuff to make it look, kind of like that fall look with the wind and stuff. I don't know why in March, because March, April was kind of windy too. But again, this was supposed to be Haddonfield, Illinois, and it was out in California.
Right. Also, the original mask didn't have specific masks, so they went to a store, bought a Captain Kirk mask that's Halloween mask. They for $2. They spray painted it white. They took the sideburns off because it had sideburns. They ripped those off. That's what I heard in another video, and they went with it. So, and it turned out iconic. And also, a bonus fact is, William Shatner said he wore a Michael Myers mask to a Halloween party once.
That's
his
awesome.
own face. His own face he wore to a Halloween party.
That is hilarious. And I can see William Shatner doing that.
Yeah.
So one thing a lot of people don't know is Janet Leigh is Jamie Lee Curtis's mom. So she was in the original Psycho.
Yes.
She was the one killed in the shower scene that everybody talks about. That was Jamie Lee Curtis's mother. And also Sam Loomis was her boyfriend in the original Psycho. So John Carpenter used several people's names, like Michael Myers. The name Michael Myers was somebody had helped him out in his career as well. But then you got Sam Loomis was really in a Psycho character. And then that was Janet Leigh was, of course, Jamie Lee Curtis's mother. I thought that was really cool.
Right. And then also, like most of Halloween's main cast provided their own wardrobe. And Jamie Lee Curtis actually went and got her wardrobe from JCPenney for the movie and spent about all for under $100. So, I mean, they were working on a shoestring budget for this movie. I mean,
yeah.
But
if it's $300,000 back in '78 and half of that money was spent on cameras to film with, they didn't leave but $150,000 to do everything else.
And then we talked about John Carpenter doing the score. I mean, and he did it himself in just 3 days. That's incredible.
And here we kind of talked about budget. I've heard anywhere from $325, but officially it said $325,000 $47 million in the US, $23 million international, $70 million.
Wow, that's incredible.
That's a pretty good return on investment, you know?
Yeah, well, and this also made Jamie Lee Curtis a huge star. I mean, she came back for the sequel, but I mean, by that time in the early 80s, I mean, she was doing like a bunch of big movies in the 80s, you know. I mean, she was doing a lot of stuff. I remember after this, probably one of her earlier movies was Trading Places and some other things like that she was in.
She also did really The Fog, if you remember The Fog, not long after that.
Oh, yeah, she was in The Fog. Yep.
John Carpenter
she
movie.
was labeled the Scream Queen. Oh, and she did Prom Night.
Yep.
Yeah, so she did after she did a bunch of horror movies, but then I think like one of her big movies out of the horror genre was Trading Places, if I remember right.
And so I found this out today because I always thought Nick Castle in the movie The Shape, he looked like a little guy, and he was 5'10", 165 pounds. Wow, some of the characters that have played Michael Myers over the years have been a lot bigger. And then we already talked about the deaths, the 5 people and 2 dogs.
Right. So I think I was watching another review on this, and James Rolfe from Cinemassacre, and he was commenting how on like the later movies, like the Michael Myers looks like he's got like football pads underneath his like outfit, like his shoulders are like huge. It looks like he's like a hulking man. It just looks odd. It does look odd. I mean, because I imagine Michael Myers as like a slender, tall man, not like a big, bulky man. You know, that's more of a Jason Voorhees is what I think is a bigger, bulking man. But
he's supposed to have this incredible strength that he can pick a guy up with one hand and then stab him with the other.
Yeah.
That kind of goes back to the old saying that, you know, people that are schizophrenic have incredible strength, and you know, I don't know how true that is. That was an old rumor back in the day that you know, people had incredible strength that were kind of schizophrenic or kind of crazy or trying to spit it out. Institutionalized it is what I'm trying to say. But
that's probably back when it was pretty insensitive, Mike. So. Not sure I'd be saying all that.
That's back in the 70s when you killed dogs, you killed snakes, you didn't care, right?
Sure.
Nowadays, my wife, the last time I watched this was, and I watch it all the time. A couple of days ago, I was watching it with my wife. As soon as that scene came with the dog, she's like, cut the volume down. She turned her head. She wouldn't watch that scene. And I get it. I mean, times have changed since then.
Right. Definitely. So you want to get to that rating, Mike?
Yes. You want to explain the rating to everybody, and we'll give our rating. And if you're watching this on a replay, which you are because we're not doing this live, tell us in your comments what you rank this movie.
Right. So we are this particular movie, we're doing on a scale of knives. 1 is bad, a bad movie. 5 knives is really good. So I'm going to give the original Halloween 3 knives out of 5.
Oh, way. Boo. All right. So tell us why you give it 3.
I gave it 3 knives because, yes, it does have a slow burn, which does have a great payoff. But the slow burn is a little too slow for me, personally, for what I like. It's a little too slow. And really, there's not a lot of kills in this movie, to me.
Sure.
It's light on the kills, and it's all at the end. I mean, he does kill at the beginning, 1, but that's kind of like at the very beginning. Then he kind of has a kill in the middle, but you don't see it, though, at all. You don't see the kill at all. Because that's what I was watching it, and I'm like, wait, how did he get that mechanic suit? Like, they don't explain it until they show that kill. And then if you didn't read the side of the truck door, you wouldn't have got that because it says something garage or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's how you know he got that. Because I was wondering, I'm like, wait, how did he get that suit? Because they show him in the suit before he actually does that. Another thing is like he cut the phone line. So Lori went to use the phone and she couldn't. Like, they don't say that, but you get it because she's like, like, how did you know how to do that? Like, they didn't, you know, like, it's just like a thing. I understand it makes it more convenient for a plot. Like, she can't call, but it's just kind of one of those things. It's like, okay. I guess I'll go with it. It's a movie. You know what I mean? Some other problems I had with it. Some of the characters just seem kind of dumb. Like the girl has said totally lie. I mean, I get it. They're teenagers. They're worried about drinking and partying and having sex and all this stuff. But I mean, I don't know. I just think like maybe made them a little too like naive or whatever, or just focused on that. Like all the characters are just focused on drinking, partying, blah blah blah. Like that's what they're focused on. Hang out,
sex, drugs, and rock and roll, dude. In the 70s.
I mean, I get it, but I don't know. I just feel like it might have been leaned a little too much on that. And I know they're teenagers; they're in high school. There was a weed smoking part in the movie.
And the cop dad rolled the window down. The girl rolled the window down. He didn't even smell it. Yeah, you know he did. Come on.
I was like, wait, are you kidding? That guy definitely smelled it. He put his face
it looked like Cheech and Chong rolling up in there, man. Cheech and Chong's rolling up in there. And
yeah. He put his face right in the window and he's like, is everything all right? Well, yeah, come on. But yeah,
was it an electric window? Was it a roll window?
I don't know. I think it was a roll. I don't know, but overall, good movie. The best, not in my opinion.
Okay, that's fair. So, I think it's the greatest movie of all time. No, in all honesty, it is my favorite movie of all time.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to kind of preface this. I know it's not the fastest movie. To people watching movies nowadays that's instant gratification and blood and guts and gore, it doesn't reach that. I guess more because I'm a product of the 70s and born in 71. This movie scared the crap out of me at a young age watching this. I love the whole point of view thing. Just to me, using your imagination in scary movies, like even Psycho, way back in the day when it's black and white, scared me because the psychological part of it. To know that there's a crazy guy walking around the town trying to kill babysitters and people are leaving their front doors unlocked. The kill scenes, again, killing the boyfriend and turning his head sideways, the white mask. I love in this movie how John Carpenter messes with your mind behind the scenes, where the Annie, I think is her name, and she's in the kitchen and wearing the shirt, and then she's talking on the phone, and then in the background you all of a sudden you don't see anything, and all of a sudden you see his face looking at her. Little things like that.
I do appreciate that kind of stuff. It's great.
Yeah, and I think it allows your mind, more imagination, in my opinion, than some of the newer, like for example, the last Halloween. We'll talk about this down the road, I'm sure, on the show. I thought it was just too much violence, too much blood and guts. I get the killing part. People love Michael Myers for that,
right?
But it was almost too graphic, in my opinion. It took away the imagination.
Yeah, didn't he stab one person like 70 times?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
It was too much. I agree with that. I do agree with that assessment there.
I love.
But there's got to be a happy medium there. Yeah.
Yeah, instead of 30 in the last one and 5 in this one, maybe go 15. I don't know.
Sure.
But I love the build up. This movie also, in my opinion, set the stage for so many other movies after it. The 1980 Friday the 13th. I mean, the directors even admitted, hey, we saw how well that did. We want to kind of copy it. The young teenagers, like camp counselors versus babysitters.
Right.
Again, it's one of my favorites. Long story short, I give it a 4 to 4.5 out of 5. I'm not going to give it a perfect score. There's definitely things I thought that they could have done better.
What's that?
Just like the facts. I mean, this was written in 10 days.
Right.
The score was written in 3 days.
But what are some of the things you think they could have done better? I'd like to hear those.
I thought in the very first one, and they try to do it in other ones, I thought they should have set the story up about Michael Myers a little bit more. When it starts the movie out, all you're doing is seeing this kid going in his house and going up and then killing his sister. Why did he kill his sister?
They think that he was just nuts, but also the part that's really weird at the beginning, where the parents come and they pull the mask off, and then they just stand there,
and the mother puts her hands in her pocket, and I'm like,
right.
That was another great view though of that special camera and how they had to to rent a boom to get that going away shot from up high. But yeah,
Right.
that scene is really odd. But I thought they could have maybe did a better job of seeing why he did that. I know in later movies of Halloween they try to explain that a little bit more, and I think Rob Zombie tried to do it way too much, in my opinion. But
Yeah, that was horrible.
yeah, I like Rob Zombie's music, his movies. I'm not a big fan of, but yeah, that I thought they could have done a better job of that.
Okay. Hey, to
And then
me, you
Mhm.
said that Friday the 13th copied. To me, Friday the 13th went on to do it better, and the movies are better as a whole. I wouldn't say anyone's better than anyone, but as a franchise, the Friday the 13th movies are better.
That will be a great horror movie war between you and I, between Halloween and Friday the 13th. Chalk that one up if you're watching this replay to come back and watch that one. A battle
Hey,
between Michael Myers and
justify
Jason.
Halloween 5 and 6, buddy. You can't do it.
Anything in final saying you want to say, Josh, about Halloween?
No, man, it's just great. Get out and watch it. Watch it again. Watch it for the 50th time. Watch it for the 100th time. Watch it for the first time. Go ahead and go do it. That's all I got to say.
I just heard the other day somebody told me that they had seen the only Halloween they had seen. They love Halloween, but they only saw from the Rob Zombie forward till now. And I was like, what? You never saw the 1978 original? So yeah, the newer generation, the younger teenagers, early 20s, whatever. I'm not going to say 10-year-olds, but go back and watch this movie and you'll pick up on a lot of things in this movie that movies in the 80s and 90s and even nowadays they do it. And they did it at such a cheaper 300,000 back in the day and
Right.
$70 million gross. That tells you right there people love Halloween.
Right. I want to say one thing. It doesn't have to relate to this, but I want to say one thing before we go is thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. But also, this is the kind of stuff we're going to do. We're going to do this kind of movie. We're going to try to do one of these a week. Right, Mike?
Yep.
One a week for the foreseeable future, and we're going to do all kinds of different horror movies. So it's going to be, so if we're not getting to the one that you like, we will eventually. If you have suggestions, you can leave them in the comments. We already kind of have this month set up, but definitely going forward, like when Christmas hits, we'll do like maybe some Christmas themed horror movies. Like when it's around Valentine's Day, we'll do some of those. St. Patty's Day, some of those kind. Like we'll try to like theme it, but yeah, we're just gonna kind of go through a gambit of horror movies, and it's gonna be a lot of fun, Mike.
Yeah, I agree. And my point of view on this, and I think Josh and I agree on this, is this is two guys that just love horror. We love collectibles. We love anything to do with movies, reviews. We're going to do trailer reviews of movies coming out. But it's just two guys. We're not really nerdy and, well, they did this and at the 3-minute and 45-second mark of the movie. It's just two guys hanging out. A little bit of difference generational. I'm in my early 50s. Josh is in his 30s. But just the take on those two and putting them together. So
right. And like you said, we love the horror NECA figures, which we will probably show eventually and do some shows about those. We like horror Funko Pops. We're gonna, we have some signed stuff. We're gonna show in videos. We're gonna do shorts of different things. So yeah, we're just got a lot of stuff going on, but it's all going to be related to horror and right now Halloween. So
that's right. So I'm going to say bye to y'all. Y'all have a great one. Have a great time at Halloween. Please like, subscribe, comment on this video, hit that bell notification, and like Josh said, give us some movies maybe down the road we can check out and do the reviews on.
Yep. See you guys. Thank you. Bye bye.